It's Reality Check with Craig Price.
I'm an idiot.
4 minutes in and I'm already wrong.
I'm like a monkey. Hello, look at me. Craig, shut up. Hey, I need you guys to do these things.
You're like a beautiful mind. I'm more like Forrest Gump.
So, welcome to Reality Check with Craig Price. This week, Crystal Washington is here to talk social media because I am still doing it wrong, apparently. We've had social media people on here in the past, and, look, I tweet, I post to Facebook, I'm LinkedIn, I've got clout, I'm on Google+. Everyone I talk to says I'm doing it right, and whatever that is, because whatever right is, because I'm doing it for me as a person, I'm doing it for me as a professional speaker, and I'm doing it for the podcast. And, very little of what I do for a living comes from the internet. I get most of my business other ways, either referrals or I go out and do sales. And so I know there's a lot of other people out there that are having the same frustration. They're doing whatever they're told to do on social media, and it's just not working out. And that's why I brought Crystal on the show. She's a very practical, realistic social media expert. She's great at telling you like it is, what's useful, what's a waste of time. She's direct, she's results-oriented, which is exactly why I wanted her on Reality Check. In fact, we're both going to be presenting at the Meeting Professionals International Houston Professional Development Day. That was a mouthful. This week, April 19th. It starts at 8:30, and I will be the opening keynote. That'll be followed by Crystal and I competing for viewers, for audience, for people, for bodies. We will be going head-to-head on breakout sessions, and I am announcing right now, go see Crystal. I've already got the opening keynote. Go see Crystal. You're going to learn so much from her. You're not only going to learn from her from this podcast, but if you have a chance to see her in person, she's really fantastic. So if you are a meeting planner in the Houston area, come see both of us this Thursday, the 19th of April. Head on over to mpi-hac.org to register, and it's going to be a great day. So hold on to your Astropuff, and welcome Crystal Washington. Tell me about this tornado thing. What was this? I mean, that looked like it would be a cool event to go to, only because you're dealing with people who have to tell people to run for their lives.
It was really awesome. But it was kind of strange, too. I'm not going to lie. So I'm on the stage, and they have me set up in between two prop tornadoes. And
are they made of like cotton? What's a prop tornado look like?
I think it's some type of plastic or something.
Okay.
And then the stage behind me was changing colors and stuff, kind of like being in a storm. It was pretty cool. The only bad part was the gentleman who introduced me happened to be a weatherman. And he mentioned that right now, he said in the next, I think he said week and a half, this is the time in Oklahoma when we get the most destructive tornadoes. And so there's a really good chance one will hit, in the next few days. And then he's like, and our guest, Crystal Washington. And,
oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I want to get the heck out of here right about now.
Oh, you've never had that happen to you before? Because I've had that happen to me quite a bit. If you do a lot of oil and gas, they do safety talks at the beginning of everything. And, I think I was in Milwaukee one time, and they're like, we are due to have a possible tornado either this afternoon or tomorrow. So if it happens to show up early, the emergency exits are here and here and here. And then a lot of oil and gas, they will actually do a safety little presentation like you're on the airplane.
Yeah.
I did 4 breakouts in one day, and every breakout someone would tell where the exits were, what to do in case of a fire, and Craig Price.
No, I missed that. And it kind of threw me a little bit at first. I just kept thinking, do I go on the stage or do I just run the heck out of this room and keep moving? But I got on the stage, so it worked out.
Yeah,
okay.
As long as the check clears, you get on the stage and you go for it.
I learned something new, though.
What did you learn?
Maybe you already know this. When there's a hurricane or a tornado and everybody's, bunkering down in corners or closets or whatever, you're supposed to wear a bicycle helmet.
Okay.
Because over 50% of deadly injuries are head-related. So
I did not know that. I mean, it makes perfect sense, but,
Yeah.
I'm more worried about just finding my dog or the cat. I wouldn't even think, because we don't have a bicycle helmet.
Right.
There's no bicycle helmets, and I don't ride a bike, so.
Well, but here's the problem for me.
So do I have to get a special tornado helmet now?
Yes, you really should. I was actually thinking about doing it, and I made a joke to somebody afterwards, and they said, how are you going to get that over your hair? And I have an Afro puff, and I thought about that, and so now I'm really traumatized because the next time we have a hurricane, I'm going to have to shave off my hair
Nope.
and put a helmet on. No?
Get a bigger helmet, and then you have extra cushion. So if it does hit you, you're gonna be extra padding.
That's gonna have to be a huge helmet.
Yeah,
That's a lot of hair.
There are big heads out there. Believe me, you're a tiny woman with. There's some big heads out there. You can find a Shaquille O'Neal size helmet.
So if Shaquille O'Neal had an Afro puff, then he would be in trouble.
Maybe.
I got it.
Possibly. I can't imagine what he would look like with an Astro Puff. And she has already introduced herself, but we're here with Crystal Washington. And no, she is not a meteorologist or a weather person. She is a social media expert. And I have you on because I still don't get the concept of a lot of the stuff because I do it. I work in it. I'm neck deep in it, but it doesn't do anything for me. It's just wasting my time. So I've had this discussion in the past with other experts, and Gina Schreck being my first guest ever.
Right.
And she made a lot of sense. But maybe it's just me. I know a lot of people I know who are not social media experts have the same issue.
Right.
We're all doing the same stuff,
Right.
and then things will change. Like Facebook just changed its new timeline situation, so everything got scrambled.
How do you feel about that?
Indifferent, because I
Okay.
don't use Facebook for business.
Oh, there we go.
All it really did is you just changed the banner.
Right.
That's all.
But people are freaked out.
Oh, yeah. They either change it or something new will come out, like Clout, which
Right.
I find another thing that I find semi-useful but mostly useless because
Fair enough.
they've given me expertise in areas I'm not even closely related to. They told me.
Are you an expert on Afro puffs?
I am not, but
Okay.
but all it takes is one or two people, or if I tweet
Tweet it
about
a couple times.
Crystal Washington was here, and she and her Astropuff had a great interview.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I get a +1 as a Clout expert on Astropuffs because I didn't even mention Oakland Raiders, and I was named an expert on Oakland Raiders.
Wow.
So
Is that a good thing? I don't
no, it's
follow
not.
sports. Is that a good one?
I haven't liked the Oakland Raiders since Bo Jackson was on the team. I love Bo Jackson, but I haven't. But it's one of those things where it's just weird. So. What as a small business person, though I don't like to call myself a small business person.
Right.
I'm a medium-sized business person.
Okay.
My business is small, but I am just average.
Okay.
I feel like it's like for dwarfs.
I get it.
But there's so many changes. There's so many. How can you get a strategy? Because it seems like as soon as you implement a strategy, it's obsolete, and you've got to get geared up on a totally different platform and do a totally different set of techniques and learn a whole new system.
You know, I think the issue comes in, and a lot of people get on social media originally from peer pressure. I think that's where it all begins.
Oh, you've got to be on Cloud. That's how I got it.
Yeah, and there's people around you saying, oh, you have to join this, you have to join that. There are thousands of social networks. You can't be on all of them, just like you can't be a member of 12 professional organizations and be active. It's just not reasonable. But for whatever reason, when it comes to social media, people think that it's different. So first thing is, I think you really have to stop and assess, what is it you're trying to accomplish? And when I say that, I mean numerically. I'm marketing. I'm measurement girl. So are you trying to increase your website views by 500, views a month? Are you trying to get 2 clients to call you, a week from Twitter? You need to set some numbers down. What are you trying to accomplish? And the reason why that's important is because then when you start to test it, because marketing is testing, you can start to see if it's effective and if you need to get off. Because I find a lot of business owners, social media is not their best use of time. I mean, there might be a couple things they need to do, but they don't need to be there. So once you put down your numerical goals of what you're trying to accomplish.
But for me, that would be like you've never been in sales before. And if you've never been in sales before, or you've got a new product that you've never sold before, coming up with a sales figure.
I got it.
I had a friend of mine who was working for a company, and they just across the board said, well, we're going to you need to double your goal. And they didn't do any market research to figure out if that was feasible. There was no other reason for doubling their goal besides they wanted more money.
Right.
So it's kind of the situation, well, how many followers do you need? Or how many followers do you want? I mean...
Well, I don't think followers is even the best measurement. You need it to be something...
Well, see, that's what I mean. People
Right.
get so confused.
Right. I mean, okay, so obviously if you're getting more followers and friends and stuff, that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, are you trying to get more sales on your website? Is that one of your goals? If so, then you know that you need to get more traffic on your website. If so, then you know that whatever social networks you choose, and we'll talk in a minute about how you choose that, that's your goal. You're trying to send X amount. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to change that number after 2 weeks, because you might see that you've surpassed it or gone under it, but it gives you a starting point. So when you start to kind of see what am I really trying to accomplish in my business, now that you see what you're trying to accomplish, then you start to put the numbers behind it. Then we're going to start to look at the social networks that you need to get on to do it. The second piece to that would also be you have to consider how much time you can commit. So along with those numbers that you're putting down, what you want to accomplish, I can put 5 hours into this a week. Okay, so now that you know you're putting 5 hours, this is your goal. Who are you trying to reach? And you can go to Wikipedia and see who's on each social network. So if you're trying to reach baby boomer women, then you know that Facebook is going to be your best option. Don't go to Twitter. Don't go. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
so then, okay. So
Well, I know that because I deal with a lot of associations, and associations have a tendency to have older
Yeah.
board members
Right.
and decision makers.
Right.
And they're not even on any,
Uh-huh.
or their association isn't even on.
Right.
Usually they have a big website, but then the people I'm dealing with, they're not on LinkedIn.
Right.
They're not on Twitter. Their association's not on Twitter. And so it's like I'm finding all these people, and it's
So now, if they're not using it, so if your client isn't on there, then it's not a good use of your time. However, if you're trying to get more media attention, then yes, Twitter's a good place because that's where the media is. So you do have to consider, if your clients aren't there, then you need to have limited action in that space. And that's what I was just talking about when I said there's a lot of people who don't need to be there. I mean, I had a woman call me as a reference from another client. She owned, I think, some type of packaging company, okay? And she said, I'm so behind. I'm not on Twitter and LinkedIn. And I said, lady, save your money. You don't need to be. You don't need to pay me. This isn't where you need to go. This isn't your space. And so just figuring out where those people you're trying to reach are. You might just need to fill out a LinkedIn profile. Just because Google likes it, you're more likely to be found for search, and call it a day. That is a boat that some people are in.
Yeah, and that's another weird boat that I haven't figured out either, because it's like if you're looking for a job, that's one thing. That's a great place. I can and I use it just to kind of like get testimonials, because if you ask people directly, they usually don't give them to you. They say they will, but then they
Right.
get so busy and they feel that they have to be formal, so they've got to like get it on letterhead and all
Right.
this stuff. But I send out a recommendation request, and within minutes or at least 24 hours, I will get a glowing review or a testimonial that I would have had to wait weeks
Right.
for them to do formally.
Right.
And I don't understand the dynamic. I guess I just feel more comfortable being able to shoot it off real quick.
I think it's quicker. It's quick and easy, and so that's that's a good use for that. But here's the thing: a lot of times when you talk about associations and even CEOs, they have younger assistants, and so a lot of times they'll go into LinkedIn to look for things. But even outside of that, if they're going to Google, Google loves LinkedIn. So if they're searching for something on Google and you have your LinkedIn profile, you're more likely to pop up on Google for what they're searching for as well. So that's why I said you might not need to be extremely active on all the social networks, depending on who you're trying to reach. But just having that profile on LinkedIn, that's the one thing I say across the board everyone should do.
Oh, and now that like you said, one of the things you want to do is figure out the numbers. Now we're going to figure out the platform
Right.
or the network. What are the things? Because they all do different things. I mean, I don't
do.
use Facebook exclusively. I mean, I have a professional page, and I'll post links into the podcast. I'll post links to articles on my blog, but that's pretty much it. I don't do a lot on it. Where I'm on Facebook with
Right.
my friends and family and everything a lot,
Okay.
completely separate. But a lot of people are like, "Oh, you've got to be on Facebook," and I think that's the peer pressure you were talking about.
Right.
It's all about you have to be.
So here's the question. When people tell you that you need to be on something, what you want to ask them is, so how's that working for you? What results have you had? People don't ask that question. It's like they're afraid to put their friends on the spot, but you always have to ask. Now, some people do have great results, but it's because they have a strategy behind it. But most business owners on social media aren't seeing results because they're just kind of, spraying and praying. It's kind of how it works.
Or they can't really verify that it came through.
Right.
I mean, I could say, like, I could post a video today, and if I get a phone call tomorrow,
Right.
that doesn't mean they saw the video.
Right.
Or they even know the video exists, but a lot of people will put those connections together. They'll be like, well,
Right.
I'm doing this on Twitter, so they must be finding me, even though they ask them, oh, how'd you hear about me? Oh, well, he looked it up. Oh, I did this yesterday. I had this great blog posting, so it must be that. It's
Right.
like,
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, that goes back to sales. So I used to be in sales years ago. You have to ask. So when people do contact you, you need to figure out how they got to you. For me, I know that Twitter resulted in me getting a really good booking last year with a hospital firm. So, I mean, but again, you have to ask very specific questions so that you know how you're getting it. Because like you just said, just because you're getting results right after you do something doesn't mean it came from that activity.
yeah,
So, I mean,
'cause-
that's a big piece.
and I'm finding a lot of social media people are the ones that really are getting the most out of social media. I mean,
Yes,
if you're a
yes,
social
no.
media speaker, those are the ones that are always saying, "Oh, it's amazing, and you're doing it, and you need to be doing this." And it's like, well, you do because
Right.
you need it. Because if you're not successful on social
Right.
media, you're not going to get any business.
Right.
But a person who owns a consignment shop, or we got people who own a small firm, a law firm, they're not necessarily doing the same things.
Well, it just depends. I mean, I actually have a few friends who are attorneys that actually do get quite a bit of business from Facebook. But you have to have the right type of personality for that to work on Facebook. Two of them that I can think of off the bat, very entertaining people. Without divulging too much about their clients, you're just kind of following their crazy antics, but you're also seeing the positive impact they're having on their clients. And so they generate clients that way. That's not going to work for everybody. Not everybody has the personality for that to work on Facebook. But when you talk about the different platforms, do you want me to hit on maybe the bigger ones people...
Whatever you think would be most relevant, because I think there's so many out there that if we just went down the list, you'd be wasting a lot of time for a lot of people. But, I mean, obviously Twitter is the big one that I don't know if it really brings as much as people think it does, unless you're a celebrity. Because, you know... It can. It can. I just don't think it does as much as people say it is.
It doesn't do... The thing is with Twitter, you have to have a very tight strategy. And if you do not have a very tight posting strategy, then no, it's not going to do anything. So let me first hit on the big three, okay? LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, okay? So someone listening to this, podcast would actually repeat after me. LinkedIn is about me. Facebook is about you. Twitter is about content. What does that mean? LinkedIn is about me. It's the only it's the most professional social network, and it's the only one where really you're using it to build your credibility. It's the only place where you put down all your accomplishments, anything that makes you look good. If you try to do that on Facebook or Twitter, good luck. People are going to think you're a jerk.
You're talking, you're just blowing smoke up everybody.
It doesn't work. But really, you're doing that to be findable. Okay, so that's the only social network where it's acceptable to be about you, and it works very similar to like a resume.
Yeah, it's like Monster.com.
On crack, on another level.
It's a really useful Monster.com, unlike what it's turned into now.
Right.
So you can find individuals.
You can find people, and again, like I mentioned earlier, Google likes LinkedIn, so you can not only be found on LinkedIn, but you can be found when people do searches on Google. So LinkedIn is about me. Twitter's about you. What do I mean by that? I'm sorry, Facebook.
Yeah.
Thank you. Facebook is about you. Facebook is the most social of social networks, and that's why that's the social network where we just see the craziest stuff happening, where we see people posting things that just don't make any sense.
Well, that's why mine is blocked off to anybody on the outside world, because I will talk about other people's political posts or I'll put up stupid videos or something like that, which I would never do on my
business side.
Yeah, my business, my professional page.
I get it. And so when we say that Facebook is about you, that's where that social comes in. If you're good at building relationships, you know that you do it by making it about the other person. You ask them questions and you genuinely care. That's how you build relationships.
Genuinely?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're building good relationships.
Now I know what the problem is. It's the genuineness.
Good relationships, you genuinely care about the other person, and then with you caring and doing things for them, they're going to reciprocate. That's how Facebook works. To be successful on Facebook, you need to be able to hit emotional triggers. And so if you don't have a business that's conducive to you doing that, just like I said with the attorneys, they can do things that make people laugh, or they can present something or an issue that touches you where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is still happening. If you don't have a business that touches that can't hit an emotional trigger, you're going to have a very hard time having a good following on Facebook. And then here's the big part and the major part, Craig. Your online relationships should always translate into some type of offline action, either a purchase or recommendation, something like that. In the end is what you're trying to do. That's the end game. And so you have to stop and look at what you're doing. If you are a financial services representative, depending on what you do, it may or may not work on Facebook. If you own a mortuary services firm, people don't want to see pictures of Miss Jenkins' makeup and how nice you made her look for her service.
Well, that's true, but they had pictures of Whitney, so maybe that would be.
I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, that's what for me. That's what Twitter's turned into. It's just turned into some kind of but that's what it all seems to be most of the time.
Definitely. Word of mouth spreads.
But you're right. Nobody
media.
wants to see pictures of cadavers all painted up and gussied up and say how great. Look at that coffin. That's a great coffin.
Right. And you don't go on Facebook to be amazingly factual either. If you go on there on this crusade,
you don't go on the internet to
educate people. Oh yeah. If you don't go on there to if you have something, people need to understand this, and I want to educate them on this. You're not really going to do too well on Facebook. Facebook is social. It's social.
It's goofy videos and pictures,
and it can be useful stuff.
No, I mean, but it's.
But again, it's relationship building. The same stuff you don't want to, if you don't want to sit in a corner and listen to someone talk about something in person, you don't want to sit online and read that person post notes about that same conversation. It's still boring. And then Twitter's about content. Twitter is so confusing to people, and I have a theory. My theory is people are confused about Twitter because they follow confused people. So when you sign up for Twitter and you're following other people that are posting, my heel just broke, my dog stinks, I'm mad at my husband, of course you're going to be confused, because what's the purpose is what you're thinking.
I follow them for about a day and a half, and then I assess what they've been putting out, and then I
Yeah,
unfollow.
They're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. But it's really about that content factor. The only exception being if you are a celebrity. They can post whatever. But guess what? You and I, we're not Kim Kardashian.
Thank God.
And so so we can't just post whatever we want to. But if we post something that people find useful in some shape, form, or fashion, useful can mean you make someone laugh that day. And here's the thing.
Oh, good, because I was say some of my most retweeted stuff is the most non-content driven, useless, personality based.
But it still has something useful,
right?
And the fact is that you are able to do that because you're humorous. Most people are not. So most people should not try to be humorous on Twitter.
Oh, they're awful.
They're going
at
to
it.
fail. Me, I come off mean when I try to be funny in print.
I come off mean too, but that's okay because I
that's
I
part
play
of
the
your
mean.
brand.
Yeah,
I'm the cute little
I don't-
5 foot.
I don't play the mean as much. I'm Craig Price, professional bastard. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm the fluffier one. So,
yeah, you're a sweet, nice person. So
it
you have to.
doesn't work for me as well. But again, so if you're providing people with something useful, in that 140 characters, did you make them laugh? If not, did you give them information that they need? Did you tell them a tornado is almost about to touch down on their house and they should go put on their helmet somewhere? Did you give them something that's useful?
I actually tweeted that yesterday without the helmet part.
Okay, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, there's a tornado warning 3 blocks away. Going to be exciting this morning. And then,
See, you needed my helmet information.
I did, but you didn't post any, so I didn't get it.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah,
I
but
guess-
you just said you're not that active on Facebook, so you didn't see
Not
it.
on Facebook. No, I didn't follow that on
I
Facebook.
posted it there.
If you just put it on Twitter,
The content. You know what? You're right. Now I'm going to put that useful information on Twitter to save friends' lives. So those are the 3 big social networks. If you cannot provide content, don't get on Twitter. If you're not a people person, don't get on Facebook. You see what I'm saying? And then the 2 last social networks people are hearing about that may or may not be useful to your listeners, depending on who they are. Google Plus.
I use Google Plus, and to me, it is a vast wasteland of nobodies. I have lots of people who joined it because that's the thing.
Right.
They always talk about how many people are joining every month,
They're not active.
and then they're not active at all because I will go and I have quite a few people in the circle, and it's the same 2 people.
When you say the circle, I feel like it's people getting around like a fire and
Yeah, it's-
chanting. That's what I feel like.
We're going to sacrifice somebody
Yeah.
at the vernal equinox, but it's one of those situations where I will see a posting in the morning from Tom Singer, who's
Right.
someone we both know.
Right,
He's been on
right.
the show before, and he posts a lot on Google Plus.
Right.
But I won't see anything else from anybody else until like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And so they say like 3 minutes. People are on Google Plus 3 minutes a day, which makes perfect sense because you go there and nothing's changed.
It's pretty basic. Here's who should be on Google Plus. I'll say this: Google Plus is a good place for experts whose following is other experts. That's really who's on it. You have a lot of techie people. You have some academics. If you are selling earrings to the general public, guess what? Google Plus is not that helpful. However, it still wouldn't hurt you to have your business page set up in your account because it's still owned by Google. And Google indexes it very high. So it's kind of like that LinkedIn principle, set it up at least so that
Yeah.
you can be found.
And
But
they're-
most people don't need to be there, Craig.
And they've
right
also
now.
changed a lot of their search engine stuff to favor Google Plus, which I think may end up backfiring on them in a couple months. But right
I'm still
now, they're
watching. Yeah, the jury's out.
because I know one person who's a big, huge proponent of Google Plus for whatever reason, and is constantly trying to tell everybody how great it's going to be.
Right.
But it's one of those things where you can't, in this world, you can't sell people on what it's going to do. You have to sell it on what it
They have to
is
see
doing.
now. You're competing for time. We've just talked about 4 different social networks, and out of everyone who's a part of this conversation and listening to this conversation, I'm probably the only one who does this for a living. Who has time to do all this? And so when you tell someone, "Oh, it's going to be great," well, you know what? Call me when it is.
Right.
Let's be realistic.
I mean, I'm there early because I've got plenty of
right,
time.
right.
You're talking to busy people. I'm not that. It's like 5 hours a week. I can devote if I need to because I'm up early. I can
Okay.
divide 5 hours a day in the mornings.
Oh,
it's
wow.
easy because
Wow.
I'm up at 6 o'clock and
Oh.
from 6 to 8 I'm just looking for things to post and
Got it.
for information, and so I have no problems doing all that stuff
I
in
love
3
it.
hours. And then, of course, throughout the day, whenever I have a moment, and I'm not extremely busy,
Got it.
thankfully, or unfortunately, whichever way you want to look at it. But it's one of those things where you got Google
Yeah.
Plus, and what's the other one that you wanted
and the
to?
last one's Pinterest because we're hearing a lot
Oh.
about that with the pictures.
What the hell is that? I don't understand it. It's just like, my wife. It's basically 94%. I mean, I do know about Pinterest,
Right.
and 94% of their users are women.
Right.
And
it drives traffic more than any other social network now to retail spaces.
now that I was about to say, now that if you are selling earrings,
Hello.
that's perfect because my
Well,
wife is constantly posting pictures
You
of
know,
crap she wants to buy.
It's not just retail though. Here's where the piece gets kind of interesting. You can also sell lifestyle stuff. So, for instance, let's say you're a fitness coach, or even me. You know, I have one board where I talk about being healthy on the road. And I put up pictures of I travel with my Magic Bullet and blueberries and protein powder and stuff. And
Kirsten Carey, who's also been a past guest on the show, she brings blenders and all her food with her because she's got celiac.
Yes.
So she's got to
and
cook.
TSA loves you. Oh, they love when they see that Magic Bullet. But anywho, my point is this:
You don't go around going, "Don't check for my Magic Bullet."
well, you know,
At the TSA, they will search that
between
Astro Puff
that-
up and down.
No, they always search my Afro Puff.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at my Facebook posts, every single time I go to the airport, they always either they wand me or they have to put their fingers in there and do like a scalp massage. But I never get upset because I lose pins in here all day long. So at the end of the day, when I take it down, I have all kinds of random stuff lost in my
like
hair.
the lady from Ferris Bueller.
It's crazy.
She's pulling out pencils.
Yes. So I never get upset with them because I understand that someone really could, not that I would, put something
No,
in
you
here.
would.
And
You
it's,
look like you would.
Do I really?
Yeah, you look like you could easily. Of course not. You look like of all the people in the world. Let's go after the small, nice looking people or the grandmothers. They always
You know what?
75-year-old grandmothers.
Couple months ago, I was being frisked at the airport. I mean, this time it was really it was sexual harassment almost. It was pretty crazy. And I was starting to get upset because it was just a little over the top until I turned around and I saw this little priest. He looked like he was about 80, 85 years old. And it looked like they were blessing him with a wand as they were patting him down as well.
Yeah.
And
well,
so
if I don't
yes.
shave, they will. I have never been through security without randomly being selected because
How random is random selection if you're
they say
always
it's
so-
completely random,
I don't
and
buy
sometimes it is. When you
that.
walk through and it lights up, that's one way. But I'm always the one that's
No, I
and
think somebody has a button
I told you exactly because I told
that
my
makes
wife
it light up.
in
There-
Orlando one time. We were sitting there, we were on vacation. I'm like, you wait, I am going to get randomly selected because we had been on vacation all week, so I had
Right.
I had scruff going in full effect.
Right.
And sure enough, they pulled over a rabbi. They pulled over a guy who literally looked like Osama bin Laden
Okay.
and me.
Oh, okay.
And because it's let's kind of get the swarthy people and we'll pat them down. But it's random, sir. It's completely random means random. No,
If it made you feel better, me with the Afro Puff, I would have been there with you. So
okay,
it's okay.
That, it does make me feel better. That's why I'm
Yeah.
bringing it up because I want
Yeah.
to see that
Always happens.
that it's happening. But Pinterest, don't worry, we can get off tangents. But I'm still remembering Pinterest. From what I see, it's like pure pictures.
Yes. So if you can tell a story with pictures, if it's something that touches people with pictures, if there's something that you do in your business that appeals to people in visual format, Pinterest is awesome. But the fact of the matter is that's not most people. And so there's people who are trying to use it for business. And again, let's go back to that mortuary services company. Let's hope they don't get on Pinterest.
No, it's recipes. My wife does a lot of recipes.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every female who's been on the show, because I follow them on Facebook as well. Shoes.
Oh, I'm not a big shoe person.
Lots of well, that's good.
Yeah.
But the shoes, clothes. My wife's big into design, so she'll pick little pictures of. This room looks nice. If we
Right.
had 17 of them, I could make a room like this.
Right.
But I can't see for the average business,
Right.
How, like KBR, which is a major company, how they would engineering firm, how they would even bother with
Now,
Pinterest.
here's where it'd be interesting if they were doing some type of PR piece,
Sure,
or like BP after the Gulf.
a lot of
They could have used Pinterest like crazy, showing how
All
they're
those oily
working
ducks?
with the. No, that's what they keep away from there.
No, but I mean, that's-
but showing how they're out there and helping the people, and this is this person in his shrimp boat, and look, they're back out. So I mean, I think even from a PR perspective, if you can tell anything visually, Pinterest is great. But the thing is if you can't, stay off. No matter what your friends tell you, unless you're using it for personal reasons, it is perfectly okay to tell people, hey. No.
yeah. If you're an Aflac rep, you're not going to be going on Pinterest.
Yeah, go away. It doesn't work for me right
Well, that's
now.
why I like you because you will tell people, you don't need this.
Yeah.
You don't need to be on everything because I always,
No.
you don't. And in fact, let other people,
insane.
let other people test the waters for you.
Right.
Let them crash and burn, and whatever
Right.
floats, try to do what they do.
Well, and here's the thing: you want your audience to already be there. You're not trying to convert people into that space. And so if the people you're trying to reach are not already in that space, then don't be there. But again, you talk about how popular Pinterest is with women. If you're trying to reach women, then if you can figure out how to tell your story visually, even if you wouldn't traditionally do it, that might be the space for you. And Facebook, again, not Twitter so much, because that's more male and it's more information driven.
So we got our metrics. We know what we want to do.
Right.
We've figured out which platform to use.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how do we start with the strategies? Because you've already given some, obviously,
Right,
but
right.
but you say like you have to have if you're doing Twitter, you have to have a very narrow situation. Now, I've seen two types of situations.
Mm-hmm.
These are both auto postings, but I see one person I know
Mm-hmm.
who I kind of about every 3 months I unfollow for about 3 months because
Oh
because I don't need to see them, because what they do is they just have 200 tweets and they just repeat those 200 tweets ad nauseum.
Oh,
So I'll see the same tweet over and over again.
love it.
Like every 2-3 days, I'll see the same one.
Refreshing.
Yeah, so it's like, and I understand you're catering towards new people who are following you, but but what about the people who followed you?
Right.
Or there's like yourself, you have a lot of different stuff.
Right.
I mean, I follow you, and then it's boom, boom, boom. It's rarely the same thing twice, though I'm sure you do repeat.
Occasionally.
But- So which strategy is effective there? Because I've been told that you can't just tweet one thing, because you never know who's going to see it. It only has a lifespan of 3 hours or something.
Yeah. Well, okay. So yes, everything that you post on Twitter has a very short lifespan. If you post the same thing on Facebook, when appropriate, because not all the same stuff should be posted on each platform.
Well, that's what I was going to.
It has a
My
much
follow-up was
longer.
going to be that.
It has a much longer life on Facebook, but a lot of it again depends on who your audience is, and you always have to take in mind your audience, because there's not one strategy on social media. That's why the waters are so cloudy. Because I can't sit here and tell someone, you know what, you need to post a minimum of 10 times a day. Make sure that you repost these many times. Make sure that you retweet. Because it's different for different audiences. You kind of have to go in there and test it. It's like split testing with SEO or anything like that. It's getting in there and just seeing what are people responding to. One of the tools that I really like is Hootsuite. The reason I like Hootsuite is because when you post from within Hootsuite and you're posting links to articles, and let's say that you even post the same article twice, you set it up on a timer to come out later and it's at different times of the day, you can see how many people are clicking. You can see how many people are clicking at what time. That tells you what you're doing that is effective.
If you're getting people to click.
And if you're not, then that tells you maybe you either need to change something, or after a while, maybe this isn't even the platform for you. Maybe this isn't the best one. And that's good. That's good if you find that out, because that's still educating you on something. And my opinion on social media is people always talk about it's free, okay? It's free in terms of, yes, you don't have to insert dollars in the slot on your computer to use it, but it's time, and time is money. You know, a lot of us that are consultants, we have hourly rates, and so I look at time as money literally. And so if you find that you're not getting results on something repeatedly, that's why you have to get off. But, I think a good place to start with Twitter is, if you really want to build your following, one of the best things you can do is tag people. And when I say tag people, using the @ sign and highlighting their name, tagging in a way that makes sense. So you don't just start randomly mentioning people, but if you're retweeting their post, tagging them. If you post something that you know specifically that these people would find interesting, like I actually have clients, I'll tag my clients on different articles. So I'm like, you should check this out. And I'll tag them at the end. Then they appreciate it. They start to retweet things. They start to tag you back. Their followers start to follow you. So I think tagging people is a huge strategy. And then again, using tools like Hootsuite so you can see what are people clicking on, what are they responding to.
Well, now the Follow Friday thing, is that anything? I see that every Friday. Everybody puts like 9, 10, 15
Right.
people that are following them, and just to put them out there. Like, I don't think that's.
I don't think it's the only time it's useful. Occasionally I'll do Follow Friday. But when I do Follow Friday, the way that you'll see me do it is Follow Friday, wonderful exercise experts. And then I'll put who they are, or great resources on small business. So if you tell people why they should follow them, what areas they're good at.
Not just
I think
random people.
No, but I mean, I don't want to follow your Nana and your neighbor and your boss. What does this have in common? And so we just have to make this practical. We really have to make it practical. Think about real life. If you tell someone, oh, you should know Beverly, Dan, and Jim, and you just say that, why? What?
Yeah, that's actually how a lot of people start off in Twitter, is they just start following everybody who's been followed that they're following.
Right.
But the problem is they'll follow like Kim Kardashian
Uh-huh.
and go, oh, well, I have to follow all these millions of people. It's
And then
like,
they'll start posting like Kim Kardashian and wondering why they're not getting results.
but also they also feel like it's not a numbers game. In fact, it's not how many people follow. They say it should be about equal, and that's not true.
No,
you should be following a lot. As for my opinion, you should be following a lot less people
Yes.
than are actually following you.
Yes.
If you're going to be an expert in something,
That's true.
you know, because you can't just follow every schmo that comes along.
No. And measuring your influence. I mean, I know for me, if I see someone following 15,000 people and they have 200 followers, I'm going to think probably not someone I should, be following. They probably don't have too much to say that's of value.
Or if they only have 7 tweets and yet they have 8,000 followers, that's usually a spam bot of some sort. That's
Yeah, I'm like,
that's the
whoa,
two things. It's either porn bots or spam bots that are out there
Right.
that are always, every time I get a new little alert, I'll be like, who's this? And I'll go and it's like, oh, that's naked. Click unfollow or block or
Can we go on a little tangent?
go
It just
ahead.
reminded me of
This whole
something.
show is tangents.
Okay, great tangent. So with the porn bot, that actually reminded me of something. Now I refuse.
Oh, I thought you had to submit a
do-
patent after the show.
No. Thanks so much, Craig. That actually reminds me of why I started refusing to speak on stage with the Twitter.
Oh, the Twitter followers?
Twitter.
The Twitter
with
feed.
with
yeah,
the Twitter feed
The
next
Twitter,
to it.
the Twitter stream display.
Yeah, so they
I've only done that once, but I love it, but
Thing
I
in a
don't-
lot of conferences where they want to put the stream up while you're speaking, and I refuse to do that because I've actually seen other speakers get the hashtag hijacked, and so then they're up there speaking, all of a sudden you see sexy young blah 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 coming in. And then you just start seeing a bunch of it. So, all of these things, it's so funny. I love social media so much, but the thing I love about it is that you can't control it. And the thing that's really scary about it is you can't control it.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of speakers are scared to death just
Mm-hmm.
in general because they're afraid to see anything that, not necessarily porn bots, but they're
Right.
afraid to see someone going, man, this guy's boring.
Right. I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, I'm not. I've
yeah.
only had to do the Twitter stream thing once, and I
Yeah.
loved it because, in fact, I had to. I did about 5 minutes on it
Uh-huh.
in the middle of my thing because I saw something and I started talking about it, and we had all had great fun with it. But
Right,
it's like
right.
no, I'm not a social media person.
Right.
I need to get back on topic. We're having too much fun, but
right.
you know.
I'll do it in a workshop. But like I said,
Yeah.
a big stage, no. Because
Well, like I said, I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent. I'm so flexible. I'm indifferent on that because
Got it.
it's something that's just another toy for me to work with.
I got it.
I mean, you even challenged me to use a phrase. I did something on Facebook.
What was it? Wait, what
It
was
was some game
that?
I'm playing because that's what I do. I have all these speaker friends and we all play the
Yes.
same games on there. And it was some
trying to
kind of
remember
like
what
it was curse-free matches or something like
They
that.
put something crazy on there.
Yeah,
and yes, I tried to dare you to. Yeah, I don't
and
remember what it
and
was.
if I had more speaking gigs, I would.
I'm gonna go back to Facebook.
Yeah,
now
but it
and
was
find that.
it's
It
one of
was
those things
silly.
where I'll do silly things in mine
Right.
because even though I have a very deep, heavy topic, I have
Right.
to be light with mine, and plus I'm not nearly as afraid of people's feelings towards me
Got
as
it.
other speakers.
Well, you're a humorist too. So again,
Well,
you,
no, I don't even market myself as a humorist. I'm funny.
but you are.
Well, but I want to get I want to get paid, and humorists don't get paid.
Okay, I got it.
Negativity experts get paid. Funny people.
You're a funny subject matter expert. How about that?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
say.
Okay, all right.
I'd say I'm a negativity expert who happens to be funny.
Okay.
You know, I'm not also not afraid of getting up there and looking stupid.
Okay.
Which I know a lot of people. That's their biggest fear.
Right.
Is looking stupid.
No,
So-
I'm just afraid of being the social media expert on stage
Who
whose
can't
hashtag
control-
was was hijacked by porn bots, and now there's a video that everyone in the company watches with that.
or a
going on.
virus. That's
Yeah, or
even
vi-
better.
or
Click on
that.
that, and then the whole
That would be-
company's
yeah, that'd
infected.
be awesome.
Where'd you get that from? Crystal Washington.
Wow, yeah.
And there's no way. But can't you do a filtered stream
mean,
of
there
some
are
sort?
filters
I mean,
and
you have
stuff.
somebody back
There
there.
are filters.
That
I mean,
in-
there's
an
software
intern?
you can use.
Get somebody.
No.
No, you
No,
can't. Not during the thing.
No, but there's software that you can purchase to do that.
But now, if the people want to hear you speak,
Uh-huh.
or I know you do consulting, but we're going to focus on the speaking because
Okay,
that's where the real money is.
All right.
But if they want to know more about you, they can obviously go to crystalwashington.com.
Mm-hmm.
And your name of your company?
CWM Enterprises.
Oh, well, what's the black market?
Black Market Exchange, that has to do with my consulting handle under CWM Enterprises.
See, that's
It's more of a legal setup situation.
Oh, there you go. It's
Yeah.
a tax shelter.
Protect yourself.
So it's a limited liability corporation kind of situation. Yeah, so you consult and you have to do that. I
Right.
don't consult. I don't have to because
Right.
they can't sue me because they didn't like my opinion.
That's
You were actually
what
giving
you
advice.
think.
Well, no, you're actually giving
No, I'm
advice.
kidding,
I'm not.
yeah.
I just say something and
No,
I
I'm
go-
teasing.
Yeah, and they go, No, that's wrong. Yeah, well, that's fine. You're actually saying you should do this.
Right.
Well, I was told to do that.
Right.
That's the good thing about being a non-consultant.
Get it?
Of course, you're much busier and much more important than I am.
I don't
but-
believe that at all.
But Crystal Washington.
I'm on your show.
Exactly. I think we made both our points at the same time.
It's so silly.
But Crystal, I want to thank you for being here.
Thank
And there's a
you.
lot more. Follow her at CRYS Washington. It's not full
Yes.
Crystal.
Too long. My name's too long,
Yeah.
Craig.
I couldn't even get Craig Price.
Really?
I had to be Price _points, which is they say don't use an underscore.
There's other Craig Prices?
Oh yeah, lots of them. One guy's got an album just came out. Another.
I know somebody who can take care of that for you.
Well, if I can find the Craig Price who's a serial killer, that's the other problem I have. I didn't even get to the SEO.
There actually is one?
Yeah, I didn't even get to my.
Maybe you should partner up with him to get rid of the other ones, get him arrested, and then you can.
He's
own your
already
name
arrested. What do you think? I
online.
know serial killers who are not in
Oh.
jail? Yeah, I hang out with serial killers who have not been caught yet. That's me, just me. And it's like a club. He lives in he's in Rhode Island. He's in jail now, and every time he comes
Wow.
up for parole, I get knocked out of the search engine.
Oh, so it's you versus a serial killer. Okay.
Yeah,
So it's
and
me versus Crystal Mountain in Washington State. It's me versus a mountain, which
Oh,
is
Mount
like
Washington's in New Hampshire. I know that one.
it's like a biblical thing. Like it's
Oh.
me versus a mountain. It's
Well,
crazy.
Mount-
and you versus a serial killer.
Mount Washington is the highest mountain in the state of New Hampshire and has recorded the fastest winds on the planet.
It's not that one. It's Crystal Mountain.
Oh, Crystal
in Washington
Mountain.
State.
Well, at least it's not crystal meth. So that could
Thanks,
be.
Craig, once
I
again.
said at least. That's a
Yeah,
good thing.
that's- Yeah.
So Chris,
Well, no.
Chris Washington, CRYS Washington at Twitter. You put a lot of great stuff on there on a
Thank
wide
you.
variety of social media stuff.
Thank you.
So, and we'll put it on the website. But if you haven't, follow her now immediately. I certainly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Craig.
Once again, I want to thank Crystal Washington for being on the podcast. Catch her along with myself this week, Thursday the 19th of April at the Meeting Professionals International Houston Chapter Professional Development Day. I'm starting to sound like a comedy podcast, giving out tour dates. I'm so excited. Also, please leave reviews at iTunes. We really need some. Please, please, please. See you next week. I'm Craig Price, Professional Bastard. Nice to meet you.